So the NBA is set to sign a new media deal with multiple media outlets combined for a reported $78 billion. $78 billion. So the business that has become, or that is the National Basketball Association, is now an international juggernaut worth hundreds of billions of dollars that generates billions of dollars a year. Now, because of the heightened light on the WNBA with the dazzling rookies, the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses, this comparison between the NBA and the WNBA has reared back into the forefront. A part of what make the NBA into this billion-dollar business that I think the WNBA hasn't really realized is storylines. The NBA, David Stern, powers that be, somewhere in the 80s realized the way to maximize business is to make concessions or to add flair that leans towards entertainment. The main flair being storylines. Whether it was Magic and Bird in the 80s, who had a lot of different layered storylines. The country Indiana kid, white boy, the country accent, who could play ball like a black guy, who once said, if a white guy is guarding me, they disrespected me. And the 6'9" point guard with dazzling no-look passes with the huge $1 million smile, and Magic Johnson, head-to-head, rivals. The storied Lakers, the Boston Celtics, a decade of rivalry. Storyline. Finding a parallel or a common theme to build a story around that fuels competitive edge and makes people want to watch. And then when Magic announced that he had HIV, Bird was fading after tearing up his back, jackhammering his driveway. The NBA needs a new story. And they got one. From a 6'6" shooting guard from North Carolina with a 40-inch vertical, 4.5 speed, hands like a baseball glove, who can jump out of the gym, who is fearless, and a silky smooth jump shot. Equipped with his own movie tennis shoe, it's Michael Jordan. 6-time champion, 6-time final MVP. Then on the tail end of that, there's heir apparent, a 17-year-old high school kid from Philadelphia whose dad played pro ball. The next Jordan. The Lakers would draft to eventually play alongside a 7'1" freak of nature, 480 pounds, mostly muscle, some double cheeseburgers, who can jump out the gym, couldn't be guarded was Shaquille O'Neal. The Shaq and Kobe era. Storyline. Who could beat these guys? And then time marches on, as time always does. The thing about storylines, sometimes they get stale and you need to find something new. So then another storyline. Shaq and Kobe don't get along. Whose team is it? The young kid who's now become a phenom wants his own team. The aging superstar in the 7-1 Shaq. Storyline. So then they split up. Lakers ship him off. He goes to Miami. Instantly wins a championship in the second year with Miami. With the new budding star, Flash, D-Wade. And now, the phenom who wanted the old guy out to show the world that he can do it without this dominant big man after winning 3 titles with him. Now it's up to Kobe. After a few rough years, Kobe's finally back in the finals. And that familiar Laker-Celtic rivalry is back. Except this time, those Boston Celtics had 3 Hall of Famers. And Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen. Against the young phenom who's become a man. Who pushed out his unstoppable tandem partner out of L.A. Kobe loses to that team. Almost brutally. He vows to come back and try it again. The next year he wins. The next year he wins. The kid phenom has made good. And all while this is happening, there's a 19-year-old phenom at the very tail end of the Shaq and Kobe dynasty. From Akron, Ohio, born of a single mother. Is drafted by his hometown team, Cleveland Cavaliers. And this kid's 6'9", can run as fast as a gazelle, can jump out of the gym 40-inch vertical. 265 pounds, all muscle. No cheeseburgers. This guy can be better than Jordan. Can be better than Kobe. He's like Magic Johnson with the physical superiority of Shaquille O'Neal. The guy looks like Karl Malone, but he can dribble the basketball, can bully his way into the hoop, can jump as high as Michael Jordan. This kid is next. He will beat the heir apparent to not just Kobe, but Jordan. Storyline. So now this kid, after a journey in the league, dominating the league for 21 years, breaking every scoring record there is, 40,000 points and counting. Some say he achieved the goal of being better than Jordan. People don't even mention Kobe. Storyline. All these things are storylines. Build suspense. So when people almost fed up or done with LeBron James, the phenom, that in some eyes ended up being greater than Kobe. Broke every record, won titles in three different teams, including his home team, who hadn't won a title in 30 years or so. Forgive me if I fumble any facts. But now this boy who we saw grow from a 19-year-old to unseat Kobe, some eyes unseat Jordan, is married with children. The picture of success and positivity. Never got in any trouble. No scandals. Just a wife and 3 lovely children. 2 of which are boys. One being his oldest, his namesake, LeBron James Jr. Of course, his son Bryce, who most say is closest to him, who is a lot taller than Bronny, appears to be more athletic, a few years younger. But Bronny's now 19 years old. LeBron James Jr. Now goes by Bronny because, as you could imagine, walking in the shoes of his father, being LeBron James Jr., is a bit tough. Especially when LeBron James says in his twilight of his career, said, I'm not leaving the league until I play with my son in the NBA. Storyline. Now with that added pressure, Bronny's becoming a man, goes to college. USC, where now LeBron is. And I'm skipping over because the story isn't really about LeBron. It's about Bronny. Under enormous pressure of succeeding in college, to be able to be drafted and to be able to play in the same league as his father, if not the greatest player of all time, one of them, no further than top 3. I'm a Kobe guy, but that's neither here nor there. So we find ourselves with the kid going to college, attempting to make enough noise to be drafted into the NBA. But before his first game, he has a cardiac arrest. The kid has a heart attack. I ain't gonna spread no conspiracy theories, but never mind. So now his college career is in jeopardy. His life's in jeopardy. He recovers. He's able to play a few games in the USC uniform. Averages under 5 points. Appears to be over, right? Maybe he needs another year. But his dad's getting older. His dad don't have much more years left. And this upcoming year is when his dad has his last bit of leverage to get his son drafted. Because LeBron James will be a free agent probably the last time in his career. And even at 40, he averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists or something crazy like that. So he has a lot of leverage still. Storyline. So Bronny declares for the draft. Surprises everyone. You're not a draft-ready player. You're not good enough yet. What does it matter? His dad's LeBron. His dad has the leverage. Let's get into some reality with Bronny James. Talk a little basketball since we're here. Bronny James is a 6'1" point guard, shooting guard, tweener. That's what they call a tweener, which means he's in between a shooting guard and a point guard. He's not big enough to be a shooting guard, not really a point guard. Not only is he not a point guard, according to some pro scouts, which was the consensus up until draft time, or early before in combines, was that this kid, super athletic, 40-inch vertical, 6'1.5", doesn't shoot very consistently or very well. He's not a shooting guard. Can't lead a team, so he's not a point guard. His strong suit and strong point is that he's a point guard with comps of exceptional above average point guards in the league, except he's a switch liability, which means when they switch a big guy on him, they take advantage of him. So now we're conflicted. Will the kid get drafted? Will he get drafted by the Lakers? Will he get to play with his dad? Will LeBron re-sign with the Lakers if they don't draft Bronny? Storyline. So now we're here. Draft night 1 of 2. Bronny's not drafted. The Lakers, who had the 17th pick, opted to draft someone else. But there's 2 rounds if you know basketball. And of course you do if you're watching this. The Lakers also have the 55 pick, which is as close to an irrelevant pick as there is in basketball nowadays. And by no surprise to anyone, the Los Angeles Lakers draft LeBron James Jr. Bronny James. Storyline. Few reasons why I brought this up today and why I decided to have a live stream. LeBron James is inarguably top 5 best player of all time. Arguably number 1. And it's cool to see, if we're being candid, a black man have nepotism and be able to forcibly push his son into a league, into a game that black people couldn't always play with white people, to be frank. Nepotism's fun. It's a great storyline. The all-time great gets to play with his son. Never been done before in the NBA. And the only time I can recollect or recall that is ever being done in pro sports, period, was Ken Griffey Jr. with his father. It's a bit different because Ken Griffey Jr. was on pace to be an all-time great and was going to be drafted anyway. And is an all-time great. He's a Hall of Famer. Lives right here in Orlando, actually. It's a great story. And I understand storylines. I understand the business. I understand the suspense that it will matter of the storylines that can be conjured to fuel eyes, to fuel cheers and jeers, to feed the expectation of a $78 billion media deal. And I ain't mad at that. Not at all. Now, I will say this. People use words like hate, or you hating on a child, you hating on Bronny, or you should. People are, because if you have an adverse opinion, or you say, hey, he's not ready to play NBA basketball, he's not good enough, people have an emotional reaction, which is what I have a problem with. You see, sports is the great equalizer. It's either you're good enough or you aren't. You either win or you lose. And all that moral victory stuff is for minor league coaches, as Jay once said. So when you have a critique of Bronny's basketball game, the internet has created a space where if people don't agree with it, or they have an affinity or an attachment to the player or the person that's being criticized or critiqued, they defend emotionally, but without any basis. Truth is, Bronny's not ready to play in the NBA. Doesn't matter now because he will. But in sports, feel-good stories don't mean much if you don't succeed, if you fail. And depending on what his barometer for success is, that can very well be a possibility. Perhaps that ain't fair for a kid named Bronny. But life ain't fair. And his dad's a billionaire and one of the most recognizable people to ever walk the earth. And Bronny James himself makes millions of dollars just for being Bronny James. So don't cry for him, Argentina. He'll be fine. It's a great storyline.